All right, so you can see on the screen, I gave myself a pretty intense bookmark. You can see this all highlighted. I was at kind of a fork in terms of where I could go with this feature. There was artifacts of how it was working based off of the past, so like the current code and the past design. And then there's this new design that I'm wanting to kind of head over to. And so I kind of thought it was like this A/B test, not test, but choice, where I had to pick between one or the other. And any step that was not directly in the direction of the new goal was going to set me back. But I kind of found that to not be the case, which I'm not sure if that's unique. I guess by making more and more of these videos, I found out how unique that is. But yeah, we'll get into that. So, to give you some idea of what I'm kind of tackling right here, it's kind of just a lot of vector and like rotation math and stuff. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get. We have this thing called a twist cursor. The way it's been working in the past is you use this sort of twist around the forward axis to send it in and out, and then you can use the rest of your rotation to decide where it's going. And now I needed to change it to something where I can do it in more than just a forward direction. So I could have my hand down by my side and then do like a twist more like this. And so, or more like that, or moving my whole arm instead, just to open up that flexibility. Or even on top of that, there was this other layer where it needed to be able to overload, because I could just spin in place, right, and put my hand up and just twist, keep twisting and keep twisting, because if I'm not seated, I'm not constrained to just how far my wrist can turn, and there could be cool uses for that. So I needed to change it from something where it was for lack of a better word, like a fixed or a constant, where I'm just measuring from one certain value down to another, and trying to go from there, just getting the value that we need from there. The issue is when I try to overload that, it quickly becomes a very complicated process where it might even be recursive, I believe. So instead, I needed to change it into something that was additive, where it's a per frame calculation. And that's very easy to overload, because I can just, each frame I can either add or remove to this value, and I can set its own constraints. In this case, we're just not having it go lower than 0, but it can go basically as far out as it wants. So getting that to switch over to there was not too bad. I've had to do that quite a few times in the past. I find it's a fairly common change that I have to make or refactor. I wish I had better terminology to really talk about it. I've never really heard anyone else talk about it, so best sort of comparison I can say is there's like additive or like per frame, and there's like just a kind of a fixed or constant sort of measurement between 2 points. One of them, like, they could be changing, but you're going to use whatever value is there and not do like a per frame thing that could add or remove from there. In the process of doing that, though, I quickly stubbed my toe pretty hard on some, I guess, some nan values, like not a number. I've ran into issues like this before. I'm not sure why it only cropped up when I did the per frame situation. Maybe just because there's such small values here and there. It creates these issues. The times I've tried to fix in the past, I've just not been able to where I'd either have to really dig deep down with the parameters before I fed it in to make sure that they're going to be valid enough to return, a real number. But the times where I've tried to do the checks where I just say, oh, is this value like not a number? It's never worked. I don't know if it's just a C# thing, but the fact that it outputs to the console that like, oh, not a number, like we're getting a value that's not a number. But then when I check for it in code, it has like, oh, if this is not a number, just make it a 0. When I do that, which seems like a pretty like, okay, I got that error, let's do this fix. No change. And I'm like, what? So I just tried all these different things. I tried to go, dig deep down and try to validate the inputs. I was having trouble finding out exactly which ones I needed to check, and the ones that I did need to check were ones where I couldn't even check for equivalency or other issues like that. So I was like, luckily, somehow I landed on the right thing. And that's, if you get anything from this video, just know about this thing. It's called float .isFinite. Dear God, it saved me. I'm hopefully this is worth it in the long run. In the short term, I just feel very, very perturbed, very annoyed, almost disrespected by C#, if you will. But got that part handled. And then moving on from there, I was able to quickly get the overload to work. And so getting the overload to work was pretty cool, and being able to test that and see that it's being able to go around all the way. And I can very quickly, once I had that overload, I was able to implement a feature that seemed very daunting with how the system worked before, with just a single line of code. And then all of a sudden I was able to put a twist in, press a button, be able to like reposition wherever I want, and then continue with that twist or pull it in or out. That way I was able to extend it way further than I ever could with that sort of fixed comparison or measurement that I was using before, where the most I could get out was like a full 180 twist. Now I can have it go a lot further than that, which is very, very handy. Because, you really don't want to run into this issue in general, particularly in VR, but that sort of where you're reaching out for something and you're like so close. Like if I could only just get a little bit further out, and you're just straining, right? In real life, you understand, okay, there's physical constraints here, it's understandable. But as soon as you move over to VR, you just feel like, why am I having to have this issue? Particularly when it's on top of like these spatial cursors that enable you to have so much more range of interaction. It just becomes even more painful in that situation. So this is something we kind of lived with for quite a while, but Nico's been working on really good designs for how to fix it, and now I'm at the stage where I'm implementing it. So it was, for those reasons, it was worth it to jump through these hurdles. I don't have it fully working just yet. Having running into some quaternion math stuff, but that's going to just be some trial and error. I'll get through it. And hopefully there's going to be some cool things to share in the next video. Thanks for watching.